I feel like between me fixing my mic, trying to find my situation, having to redo this podcast, along with just other things coming from multiple angles, let's try angles, from just different angles, it looks as though I will be jumping into my next topic, which is about loving yourself while staying in your own lane. Two things that we don't do enough, and two things that sometimes need to be put together to sometimes generate or create the perfect plan. Perfect storm, flawless victory, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, I'm being that excited about saying it. But I'm going to jump on this in a different format. Because usually I sit down, have everything prepared, sit down and say, hey, we're going to talk about this, then we're going to break this down, and we're going to jump all over the place. This podcast, I'm actually going to organize it improv. Because the initial podcast that I posted, I kind of swerved into the topic, ran away from the topic, came back into it for about a millisecond, and then left and didn't come back. So I'm going to be very direct and fair in this presentation. So I'm going to, what I want to do is first talk to you about how we love ourselves and why we don't love ourselves, or things that cause us not to love ourselves. Then I'm going to go into staying in your own lane and how important it is to maintain and balance that rapport of knowing that your lane is your lane for a reason. And then somehow, some way, we got to make it about the hood. Some way we're going to put all of this together and make an excellent closing to this podcast. So stay tuned for that, and just hope that it comes out the way that I expect it to come out. Because it's anybody knows, me trying to explain it and my brain trying to process it and you getting the final result are all in different categories. So I just want you to let that happen, and we're just going to jump right into this. First topic, or the first keynote portion of the process. We sometimes fail to realize that we don't love ourselves enough. Or most of all, we don't love ourselves when it matters most. First question that I'm going to get, well, how are you supposed to love yourself when you're supposed to be a giving and caring person and acknowledge and give your best and your all to others? Well, I'm glad you asked that. I honestly think the best way to know and prove and make it your goal to love you is to give everybody a rest. I didn't say this when I did my first one, but I feel like saying this now actually makes a lot of sense. I'm going to give everyone a challenge today. And this is going to be one of my most unique challenges, but it's going to be something that I think if everyone made one small effort to do it, it just might work. Take 10, maybe 15 minutes and just turn off social media. Give Twitter a rest. Give Twitter a rest. Give Facebook a rest. Don't go looking at all the random stupid videos on Facebook. Shut down Instagram. Don't blog. Shoot. Why not? Don't even bother with blogging or journaling. Just take a moment to just chill and just enjoy time to yourself. In my case, that would mean turning off the Xbox. And yeah, that can be challenging, but it can be done. And in that place that you're in while you're in that calm and tranquil and peaceful environment, and most of all, and the hardest part that we don't do is you have to be willing to give your phone a breather. You have to be willing to give your phone a breather. A few of my friends are hitting me up now, and I love all my friends who know me know I love y'all dearly. As soon as I hit stop and this is published, you all will get my undivided attention. This I will acknowledge is that unique way of loving and caring for me. And it's almost odd because I'm loving and caring for me by investing time investing time in doing something to present something that can help somebody else. One of the things that I've seen not done enough is we look for everyone to give back to us because we give a lot of ourselves to other people. Step one was ignored, and that's loving and caring and making yourself feel like you matter or like you're important. All right, I'm back. Sorry about that. Loving and caring about yourself causes you to skip an important element, which is knowing that you matter. When all else fails, you matter. You have to take that time to really realize that. And once you realize and can put that into perspective, it usually makes everything else just a little easier. I'm kind of coming at everybody with a different angle today, because usually I'm sitting here and I'm like, oh, blah, 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 doing this, we talking about this, we're going to this. This will be one of my first of many relaxing or calm podcasts that I really want you to hold the words that I'm saying. And if the words are wrong, or it's something that you don't understand, or I came at it from the wrong angle, comment, discuss, address. By all means, I really want to get ways of making this a more discussion based podcast. And this is the first way to do it, is by really getting people to realize you have to learn to start loving yourself. Yes, you may have children. Yes, you may have parents. Yes, you may have friends. And yes, they may deserve some of your time. But if you're not giving you any time, there's nothing left to give. Giving everyone 99% and leaving yourself 1% is very unhealthy. It's very time consuming. It's a mental drainage on every level. We don't realize or don't understand how key that is until it all is put into perspective. So give you that time. That's how I'm going to kind of talk about that one. My next part, and this is where Kevin Hart has talked about it in his stand-up, but he talked about it in, as a comedic way. I'm going to come at it with a very direct and clear-cut position. We all want to help. We all want to do what we can for others. Doing that gets you out of your lane. It causes you to lose focus. Stay on your path. Run your course. You don't understand how much you miss by deterring off for a little bit or just veering off for that little moment. Best analogy, but most honest perspective, when driving, the worst thing to be when you're driving is tired. Anybody who gets in my car, despite my accessories of unknowns that I carry with me, will confirm you will hear music And there's a likelihood you're going to hear music that is not played on local radio stations. It's nothing against local radio stations. As far as getting like information for different events going on, perfectly okay. But for to keep me up and going, I got to have some music that's going to get me in that I'm jamming and I'm bouncing and I'm chilling in the car. And I can usually count on my iPod, my iPhone, my iPod Touch to step right in and do its job. Real MVP. Need I say more? But in keeping those things in tune, it helps me with staying in my own lane in driving. But in life, you're gonna have those moments where people and things are just gonna cause you to travel in a way that you're not used to traveling. You gotta take control of the wheel. You may not want to take that control, but if you don't do it now, there's something you're going to leave behind or something you're going to forget that, dare I say it, should have been, and you're missing on handling because you didn't take control. So, loving you, staying in your lane. How do you love yourself and stay in your lane all at the same time? Anybody who knows me will admit I'm not going to give you the whole spiritual realm rundown, blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. What I really think people do wrong is we lose faith. And coming back to the, more so on the keeping control of the wheel, is we don't want to own anything. When you don't love you, you don't own it. You're giving your love or you're giving your care and your companionship to others. When you lose course or you lose track, you're losing faith, you're losing ownership of the drive or the focus of where you're trying to go or what you're trying to do. I sit back and I look back at things that have happened to me over the last few years, and one of the things that I can always go back and look at, and if I ever find that clipboard, it's not far. I look at the things that I planned on doing in my little time of idleness, because I had to stop. I had to get in my lane. I had to learn how to love me. And in doing so, it caused me to truly and honestly put plans in place that if anybody said you can't do it, I was like, okay, we'll see. I'm just going to let you believe what you believe, and I'm going to just do what I'm going to do. And that's basically what happened. Or that's what's happening now. I know what I'm going to do. I know where I'm trying to go. I know where my feet stand. I know where my life lies. I know there's more to improve on, and there's more to gain and obtain and maintain and everything. I feel like I repeated something in there, and I'll hear about it at some point, but you get my point. Do it while you can do it. A friend of mine called me this morning, was like, are you off work? And a lot of people don't understand with me, it's pretty simple. If I respond to messages or I talk to you, that's the one I'm free moment. I free. I have time. So take those moments and cherish them. But love you, stay in your lane. Don't lose sight of your focus, and don't use excuses when you have chances to do things. I think we want to do things, but we feel like we can't do it because of X, Y, and Z, instead of just saying, listen, if I really want to do this, I need to go ahead and do it. And it's okay to say that, and it's okay to do that. Stick to your guns and understand that if you don't do it now, it's sad to say you may never get it done. Or you're going to put it off and put it off and put it off until eventually it's forgotten about. And that's the worst place to put things, is in what I like to call the mental archive. one of my friends, she knows it because I was guilty of doing it. I would draft up multiple blogs, never finish them, come back to it, didn't know what I was writing about, and I'd literally have like a detached blog waiting for the other half of the blog to come together, and the other half was left where I wrote the first half. It's like playing a basketball game. You play the first half and you don't play the second half of the game until 3 weeks later, and you go through life doing other things, and then you come back like, wait, why am I here? What's going on? That's not how it works. So that's not what happens. What typically happens is you play the game, the first half, you come back the second half and play the second half right behind the first half. Same applies with writing. You write, you start it, you finish it. Podcasts, I think that, and that's the reason I love doing my podcast lately, because when I start these, I have to finish it. It's not like, okay, I'm going to start this now, pause it, go do 3,001 things, and then come back and hope that I can remember to finish up this podcast. So get a plan, put it in place, do it, love it, live it, be it, and own it. Let yourself know how much you matter by staying in your own lane. I hope y'all enjoyed this podcast. It's like I said, I can't emphasize this enough. I really love doing these, and all I can say is I have plenty more in store. If you have any suggestions for titles, inbox me, DM me, personal message me on Instagram, tag me on social medias. If you look at these on YouTube, comment on YouTube. I don't mind any criticism or any helpful feedback or anything that you all want to hear about. Or if you're willing and you want to be a guest, I would love to have people, do some shows with me too. I have a few people who I'm still queuing, and I say it every time, and they all know it's coming. So it's just a matter of doing it and just sitting down and acting like complete fools. I will let you know already, and I've stated it in a podcast or two ago. I'm going to have some of my friends on, and I hope the disclaimer is just gone, and I have to remember to be sure to acknowledge that it's going to be very unfiltered. So it is what it is, but nonetheless, hope y'all enjoy. Until next time, happy Friday to those who are here. Before I continue, before I go any further, and I do want to take this time to acknowledge, it's not the most enjoyable news to share, but it's also like a piece of reality. Music goes through quite a few transitions, and I'm just going to take an opportunity to say, rest in peace or rest in paradise to, Morris White. He was the founder of Earth, Wind & Fire. And I can't speak for anybody else, but when it comes to music and thinking about albums or CDs that I've owned, those were CDs that I owned and listened to. Now, yes, I know my 70s and maybe my 60s babies, if they were about that life at that time, have those on vinyl, and that's fine. But for me, it was CDs, and those were CDs or mixes and albums that I could listen to over and over and over. And it's tough to just realize that it happened, but regardless, the music that you've left on our minds and the way music plays, it's been quite a journey. So if you have a favorite song, share it as well. But I'm going to go ahead and end this here. Truly enjoyed doing this. Hope y'all enjoy listening. And until next time, it's BT signing out. Peace.